let's say someone out there right now is a new car hauler, and they're thinking, wow, Sun Country Trailers, where do I start? Let's say they're looking at 3, 4, 5 car trailer. Um, how can you introduce them to your trailers?
Well, if they're here, the real nice thing is we have several of each of the models here. So we have, I mean, I'm sitting here looking outside the office, and we probably got 12 units on the ground here. Anything from a 4-car drop deck to a 5-car next gen to a 5-car anniversary. I think we have some wedges out here. We have some low pros out here, all different types. And so what we can do is we can see. So for example, the picture you have here, that's a 4-car low pro with a lift and tilt in the front. That you can see it. Okay, you can spatialize and visualize. How would you load it? How does this work for your business model? And you can see, is there a value in going to a 5-car? Is this fit your business model best? You can really see and look at it and understand, okay, here's the pros and cons of each one and which one fits your needs best.
Let's do this. Let's start with the 4-car, since you were just talking about it. So, you're hands-on with these trailers.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me more about how this design came about and why some of the decisions were made the way they were?
So this design originated from the original low pro model, which was probably an air, mostly built in an air ride, single axle air ride air brake. So this one here is spec'd with electric brake axles. So this would be a great option for somebody with a 5500 or better truck. Like the real low profile, so that you can haul your high profile stuff, but you have the versatility with the lift and tilt deck, so that you can get 4, and sometimes 5 with the right combination, but most of the time pretty consistently 4. So we have in the front there, we have a lift and tilt deck. So the standard comes with a 36-stroke cylinder to lift it and a 46-stroke cylinder to tilt it. That really allows you to articulate the load to keep you under height and really allow you to get the one underneath it. So this is a very versatile trailer. In the electric brake model comes with pull-out ramps, which you can option for aluminum ones. You can get 3 different types of axles in it. You can get just an electric brake. You can get electric over hydraulic drum or electric over hydraulic disc. And then there are two tire options you can do with this. You can go with a 16-inch wheel and tire, or you can go with a 17.5, which comes with a TH22 Hankook, which is a very, very nice tire.
And so, in the design of this trailer, like for example the tilt, was there a period of time where you just had the lift but not the tilt, and then realized, tell me some more about that.
The first generation just had a tilt, so the deck was set up probably about 24 inches. So then you would just have a tilt. Well, that's great. And it worked for a while, but it didn't have that versatility. So we developed the lift cylinders in there with the vertical post, and that really allowed us to be versatile. You can now, and typically they run with flippers on this, so you can get the car further forward. You can tilt it up just enough that you need it, but not too much, and really sneak that other car underneath it.
Is that a recent addition? Because I feel like I knew a guy that had the flipper without the hydraulic. I'm trying to.
It's been around for quite some time. I think from like the mid to early 2000s we started doing that.
Okay.
Cool. But historically the original design it was set up like 12 inches, and it just pivoted at that point.
Let's do this. So, because I've got some more of the PDFs here. Where should I go from here? Let's say I'm like, well, you know what? And by the way, since we're on the 4-car, so tell me more about the drop deck versus what we just saw.
So the drop deck is probably our most popular electric brake trailer. It's a very, very nice trailer. It loads really, really well, and the customers that have it are really, really pleased with it. It comes with Dexter 12K axles, and again, you can order those in electric brake. You can get an electric over hydraulic drum or electric over hydraulic disc. It's got one tilting deck. The standard feature has one tilting deck, as you can see here, and it's got a really, really long lower deck. So as you can see here, we've got 3 cars up front, and then we've got an F-150 on the back, and there is tons and tons and tons of room here. That F-150 is nowhere near the Toyota in the front, and it's not even out on the rear flippers on this.
Right.
It is really not uncommon to see with the right load combination, to be able to get 5 cars on.
I was gonna say that's what it looks like. Because
go ahead.
That truck. I mean, that's a crew cab.
Crew cab 4-wheel drive truck.
Right. Yeah.
We have an option for this trailer that's pretty nice too. So kind of the downside to this is this isn't really a low profile trailer. So the low profile position you have is the number 4 position on this where the truck's sitting, which that's kind of a give versus the other one. So the other one is low profile all the way through. So this one here, the number 1 and 2 positions have a higher profile. So it's hard to get something like a Sprinter van or a 4-wheel drive truck up there. So this is really ideal for, if you're not really hauling a whole lot of high profile stuff, but you can, occasionally it's there. You're mainly doing SUVs, you're doing cars, some smaller stuff. This is a great option. We do have an option for this that allows that tilting deck in the center, the number 2 position, to lay. It actually lifts and tilts, so it'll drop down to where it's about 11 inches above that top frame rail. That gives you some versatility to meet your needs, so that you can have that as a low profile option as well.
And here's a question: what's the max weight on the lift on the tilt?
So we rate them at 7,000 pounds for the deck. With that being said, that's what we say. Doesn't mean that there aren't pictures where they don't lift them. It's lifted it.
Right.
That's kind of our rule of thumb, is you really want to be about 7,000 pounds.
Okay. And we're going to keep in mind, Scott has a question. Do you have any trailers that are comparable to, say, the Cottrell 5309?
No, we don't make anything like that.
Right, I was just thinking that too. But we're going to tease this right now. We're excited to get later on. We're going to talk with Mike, and we're going to look at his custom 7 car, which I've seen a few more pictures. Actually, I saw a picture shared on Facebook earlier where he had 2 FedEx vans and then 4 cars.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool. As I look at this, I consider that pickup truck. I'm wondering, could you get one of them bread vans with these 3 cars?
Yeah, in that position, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, because that's a lot of room right there.
Yeah, it's a lot of room. Unfortunately, the picture's cropped, but there's at least 3.5 feet behind that rear tire of floor space still, without including the flippers.
And I can see that even from this picture without seeing the end. Yeah. No, there's clearly a lot of room left there. Let's do this. Let's go on to, because these images are really great. We can either go to the 5-car single axle, the next gen anniversary. Let's go to the single axle first.
Sure.
All right, so here we are at this.
Okay, so we got a single axle 5-car next gen. What really is kind of interesting about this, that it's kind of hard to tell here, but this one is, if you look at between the number 3 and number 4 position, the amount of height you have there in clearance in the front of that tilt deck.
Yeah.
This is set up with the up 12 plus 18 option, which what that means is when everything's collapsed, the front of that number 3 deck will be even with the number 1, number 2 position, but it'll slope down to right about where the front of that F-150 is. It's a real nice option because it allows you to still keep that low profile when you need it. But with setting it up 12 inches, we get an additional 12 inches of lift between the number 3 and number 4 position, which really is versatile in getting, your crossovers, your SUVs, and some pickups down in there. It really gives you a lot of lift. The single axle is a great option for somebody who's running, in the East Coast and you're worried about tolls. It's very, very simple. There's no hydraulic drop belly on it. It's really, really simple to run. Very, very user friendly.
Yeah, I mean, this is great when there's so many times you don't know the vehicle mix ahead of time. You're just headed over there. And then when you get there, that's when you have to be able to figure it out. And if you've got the fixed deck, you may not be able to figure it out, depending on what you've got. So, I mean, this is nice. Let's see, I think we had a couple other, oh no, I guess we answered that one. So let's go to the anniversary.
Okay. This right here, the anniversary, is probably one of our top selling models. It's kind of a toss up between this and the next gen. The next gen would be similar to what we just looked at. Anniversary, guys just love it. They love that angled deck and the angle number 2 position, and they just find it extremely versatile. This one here, it's hard to tell in the picture, but does have a front shotgun. So it's got a 46-stroke cylinder on the front that allows you to retract and extend the flippers, which is a very, very, very nice option. As we, Eliza and Brian talked about in our last episode, our trailers are heavy. They're heavy to last. They're built, we built them out of structure to last, and those front flippers are atrociously heavy. So this is really nice. It allows you to extend out just what you need and retract, whatever else you don't. But more importantly, you don't have to get up there. You don't have to lift them to flip them out. You don't have to lift them to flip them in. And it's really, really nice.
So let's talk about the material. Let's talk about the steel. Go ahead and lead that, because I know there's a lot to say about the materials you're using.
Yeah, so I'm the parts and service manager here, but I also do majority of the purchasing here. So I buy all the steel. We use all U.S.-based steel. All the steel's made here. It's milled here. It's transported from here in the United States. We use the selected mills that have proven consistency in radiusy, quality, and physical in actual appearance. So most of the structure on here is quarter wall tubing. It's strong. It's durable. It takes time, time where we're not worried about it being thin material and rusting out. It's more than capable of handling the load and the abuse that the car haulers get. It's really, really nice. We use, like I said, quarter wall tubing on most of the structure. The flooring, you have 2 options in flooring. You can either get 10 gauge, which is our heavy duty spec. So if you're hauling real heavy equipment, you want to be you're real cautious of what you're going to put on it. You don't want to see that waviness or possibly a risk of putting something on there you probably shouldn't have and damaging it. You can go with 10 gauge. Our standard is 12 gauge. With that being said, the 12 gauge is very impressively strong. It's I've seen trailers that have 12 gauge that are 8 years old, and the floor's got some waves in it, but man, does it sure still look good. So really, if you're looking for something heavy duty that you can, more or less, you can really put to the test, a 10 gauge flooring is a great option. A lot of our customers choose it. It's kind of, more material means a little bit better strength. So they opt for, most customers opt for that 10 gauge option.
And you were talking about the brakes. Tell me more about, what's going on with the brakes and why you chose which ones you have.
Okay, so in our air ride air brake, we use a ride wheel suspension. We are currently using the 266 suspension, which is a low profile, totally encapsulating arm on the beam. We have 2 different brake options. You can go with your standard drum brakes, which are going to run your 4515 Qs, brake pads, run the mills, or you can run a disc brake system. Currently, we're using a Bendix disc brake system, which is going to be similar to what's found on your Freightliners. It's going to be on your Peterbilts, on your Volvos, all those. And it seems to be a very, very, very good combination for truck and trailer. Availability of parts is good. But one thing we have done in the last year is all of our axles come equipped to receive auto air inflation. So for those of you guys that aren't familiar with it, auto air inflation is a system where it pressurizes the beam of the axle, and then there is a spindle with some some lines coming out of it that go into your valve stems, and so it keeps your tire pressure at an optimal pressure. So you can set it I think as low as 90 psi and as high as 120. And if you have an issue, say you have a slow leak or you have a tire that's going flat, and the system will read that it's adding air, and at that point it'll have an indicator light that comes on that you can see. It's right by the ABS light. That indicator light will allow you to know, oh, I've got a problem, I need to pull over before you have some sort of catastrophic failure. So you can order the trailer with the auto inflation already upfitted. And then I believe it was about, any trailer that's within a year old, you can upfit it to it as well.
Question just came in. Do you sell punch deck by length?
We do. We sell it in 10-foot sections. We'd be more than happy to ship it to you. I will say that shipping a 10-foot piece of sheet metal gets rather expensive. So we'd be more than happy to do it. Just be cautious that if you're ever in Phoenix and you want to come see the facility and you want to pick up some punch deck flooring, we'd be more than happy to sell you that. We'll help you load it, strap it down, and get you on the road with it.
Yeah, I mean that would actually, I'm sure that's a better way to go if possible, unless it's
it certainly is.
Right, and that way, yeah, I mean you're at the shop. You were also talking about axles.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have anything else to add on them? Like, for example, you were talking about the ability to raise an axle. I think Eliza was talking about that last. Tell me more about that, if you would.
So that's a lift axle kit. That is something that is really best built when you order a trailer. It's not really something I would recommend retrofitting because it takes a lot of work to retrofit it. But it is an extremely nice option. We can add what's called a lift axle kit to it, and it'll raise the front axle. And by raising that front axle, it's there when you need it, and it's not when you don't. So Brian talked last week about tolls. You pay by the axle. So if you don't need the axle and you're running across the toll road, pull it up. You're not paying the toll on it. Saves on wear and tear of the tires. If you don't need the second axle, you don't need to run it. It's really nice. It's a manual air valve switch. We typically put it right behind the axles. If you get a tunnel toolbox back there, we put it inside the tunnel toolbox. You pull the lever and it'll deflate the main bags. It'll inflate the lift bags. It doesn't lift, like you would drive down and see maybe in like a dump truck or something or a dry van where it really lifts up. It lifts up. It's probably 4 or 5 inches off the ground. But and that's about all the lift you get out of an undermounted suspension. So it's not going to like way tuck in there, but it's going to be more than high enough off the ground that it doesn't skip, it doesn't catch. Most importantly, it's not running on the ground where you have to pay a toll.
Awesome.